peace and harmony, love and charity, joy and equality, fellowship and diversity.
One of the things I really love about Pepperdine, where we can gather together and celebrate the diversity, but the diversity that ultimately creates a wonderful community here and allows us to honor and celebrate the talents and the gifts that are among us.
You ask me one more time, I'll say it to you. We all need the time to break the tide and do the rhyme, 'cause this is our song.
In a word you hear, may it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. When I get to heaven, gonna wear a robe, no man can I be dirty. Gonna see King Jesus sitting on a throne, no man can I be dirty. Gonna walk all over those streets of gold, no man can I be dirty. Ride on, King Jesus.
We thank you for the special moment of blessing as we celebrate the diversity that makes this university a place not only of academic success, but more importantly, a place of deep spiritual formation. As these graduating seniors step into life outside of Pepperdine, we ask that you would constantly remind us that you are God and you are with us. Help us to fall more deeply in love with Christ Jesus, and would we learn to live our lives for you.
And divinely woven into a multicultural quilt containing the squares of God's majestic halo, drenched in a shower of living water, reflecting God's transcendent rainbow.
You have enriched our community. You've made this a wonderful place, and this weekend is about you and about honoring you and thanking you for everything you've done for our community. And I want to thank the parents that are here for entrusting your students to us and allowing us to be a part of their lives and to be a part of their education.
My name is Seheri, and I'll be sharing part of my story with you today. That made me kind of emotional. This is my tea carrier. It is purple, red, white, green, and blue, with traces of silver running all throughout it. It is beautiful, and it is my partner. It has gotten me through late nights and long days. One day I asked myself, why do I love this cup so much? And I realized that it actually reminds me of one of my favorite words in the English language. The word is mosaic. The same thing that makes my tea carrier so beautiful to me is what makes this fortress I call Pepperdine also beautiful. It is our uniqueness, our homogeneity, and our diversity. It is our idiosyncrasies, our eccentricities, and our passion for God. The word mosaic is emblematic of my experience here. When I first arrived here, I couldn't escape the feeling that I didn't belong. I was very sensitive. I was sensitive about my background. You see, being from Detroit these days is perceived similar to being from a third world African country. It is perceived as hostile, corrupt, bankrupt, dangerous. Detroit today is the poster child of poverty in America, and yet Detroit is me. Moving to Pepperdine, I hope to have a new beginning. I hope to be free, to be me. And yet how could that be when I am Detroit, and Detroit is me? Detroit is the raspy, tired voice of my mother at 11:13 p.m. on a Sunday night when she's just gotten home from work and she's exhausted. And she's sitting in her favorite yellow chair in the living room, half in, half out of her coat, and she's exhausted. And I see her sitting there slouched into the chair, breathing roughly, nodding off with the phone pressed against her face, struggling to stay awake just long enough to say, I only called to say I love you. And Detroit is my father's voice at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday morning because he just can't fall asleep. The house is empty and quiet, and my baba just can't sleep. It's been such a long winter. the coldest one in decades, and he strained himself night and day to keep the house heated, but the frost just finds a way of seeping in through the cracks. So my father, my Baba, just can't sleep. Detroit is home, is always calling. So how do I reconcile my newfound privilege here while my family struggles in Detroit? I was 17 years old. I left a place I had lived my whole life and traveled all the way here to Malibu. You can imagine the cultural distance that I had to travel. This seemingly perfect environment overwhelmed me. There was this nagging voice inside me that said, "You don't belong here." I felt alienated from Christianity, anti-religious. And there were people walking around in Team Jesus shirts, and on top of that, mandatory convo. How do you reconcile that? My spiritual life advisor, Ibukun Jayola from Nigeria, now a Pepperdine alum, took me to church with her and gave me a Bible that for the first time I was interested in reading. Carrie Heath, who led my first international experience in Switzerland the summer after 2011, and later became my resident director during my junior year when I served as a spiritual life advisor. A celebration chapel here on campus that I attended only to earn convo credit, but something happened emotionally to me that day, and I found myself participating in worship. Christine Yusa, who you just saw sing, who has graciously served as my mentor all my years here. A conversation I had with Dr. Mary Poplin after the Veritas Forum my freshman year that I still remember vividly today. Dr. Joy Carr, who has been more than an academic advisor, a mentor, and a confidant. Her office became somewhere I went, at times just to talk and to cry and to have a shoulder to lean on. For a season, I felt like a fractured towel who could not see her place. These people, these experiences, even the sunsets and the water, they created a home for me within the tapestry of Pepperdine. Through them, I discovered God's love. Through them, I gained the strength to embrace every facet of who I am, my background, my flaws, and my vocation. Looking back now, I realize that these random encounters, these glimpses of grace, these seemingly disparate tiles within the mosaic of my memory were each unique gifts held together by the silver strings of God's love. Class of 2014, we are the mosaic that makes Pepperdine beautiful. And as we leave here, my hope for each of us is that we too will become the silver strings of God's love that brings healing and unity to all whom we encounter. Congratulations.